Hi, hello, and welcome back to F1 Challenge VB. My name is Mephisto, and our journey through the history of Formula 1 continues today with the fifth round of the 1954 season, the British Grand Prix. It was held on the 17th of July, it had 33 entries, 41 of them took part in the race, with 17 of them having to retire. The race consisted of 90 laps completed in 2 hours, 56 minutes and 14 seconds. Juan Manuel Fangio started the race from pole with Gonzalez in second, Hawthorne in third, Moss in fourth, and Jean Berra in fifth. Gonzalez won the race from Hawthorne, who crossed the line 1 minute and 10 seconds later. Marimon finished in third, he was 1 lap down. Fangio finished in fourth, he was also 1 lap down, and Trintignant rounded off the top 5, he was 3 laps behind the leader. Remember at the start of the season when I talked about the top 3 drivers of the season and gave you the points they scored throughout the season? And I pointed out that the scores were a bit funny and that I'd talk about that later in the season. Well, here is why we saw those weird points like 26 and 1/7 of a point or 23 and 9/14 of a point. The fastest lap was shared by no less than 7 different people. They were Ascari, Berra, Fangio, Gonzalez, Hawthorne, Marimon, and finally Moss. The lap time was 1 minute 50 seconds. This meant that the point awarded for the fastest lap was split into 7, leading to some weird scores by the end. And the reason for why 7 different people posted the fastest lap has to do with the timer they used to clock the laps. The way I understand it, the chronometers of those times could only measure the time down to 100th of a second. However, they would often round up the number to the nearest tenth of a second. So instead of having something like 1 minute 50.12, they would have 1 minute 50.1 seconds. And that led to this quite amazing feat, to be honest. So now you know why there were weird points in 1954, and why 7 people were credited with posting the fastest lap at the 1954 British Grand Prix. Now, moving on. Alright, we're back in Silverstone for the British Grand Prix, and a lap here starts off with a rather short sprint down into turn 1, a medium speed right-hander. Next we have turn 2, a high speed left-hander. Careful so you don't go too wide on the exit. Next we have turn 3 Beckett's, a slow to medium speed right-hander that leads into turn 4 Chapel, which itself leads into the Hangar Straight, which ends with Stowe, a medium speed right-hander. Followed by Club, another medium speed right-hander. Then the track opens up a bit as we come into Abbey, a left-hand kink. Finally we come into Woodcut, the last corner of the track, which is a high-speed right-hander. And that is a lap around Silverstone. Right, so here we are at the British Grand Prix, no qualifying because once again, just like last season, the game crashes after about 5 minutes into the qualifying session, so unfortunately we'll have to start from the back. But we have Juan Manuel Fangio on pole, Gonzalez on second, Trintignant third, and we can see that they've posted stupid times. Fourth is Mike Hawthorne, and Prince Bira rounding off the top 5. Luigi Musso is 6th, Onofre Marimon 7th, 8th is Roberto Mieres, Farina 9th, Robert Manzo is 10th, Sterling Moss down in 11th, Sergio Mantovani 12th, André Pilet is 13th, Villoresi 14th, 15th is held by Jean Berra, Eli Bayol 16th, Umberto Malioli 17th, Ascari, very unfortunate, he's starting from 18th, Herman Lang with the wrong car model for the race is 19th, and we are starting from 20th. And you saw those 10 to 12 minute laps. I don't know what happened there, but anyway, so hopefully we'll do better than in France. We didn't do too badly, but hopefully we can do a little bit better here, maybe points, hopefully. However, I know that this track won't suit this particular Mercedes too well, considering how understeery it is. As we come into cops here, turn 1, and there's already massacre all over the track. There's cars everywhere, and we move up into 14th somehow. Well, it's not a mystery. There were a bunch of cars stopped in the middle of the track for no freaking reason. As we come into Maggots, there goes Mike Hawthorne, losing control of his car. We have Herman Lang right behind us as we come into Beckett. He goes flying. We have Umberto Malioli, who lost control of his Ferrari. We now come into Chapel and onto the hangar straight, but we now have a look at another look at the start, and we see quite a slow start on everyone's part, but there's not a lot of room on this track, especially with how the cars are uh, uh, put on the grid. As we now come into Club and we can see cars all over the track, left, right, and center. It's I don't know what to say. I think this is the weirdest start to a British Grand Prix yet. So that's something. As we come into Beckett's, and there we see Mike Hawthorne losing control of his Ferrari, and now we have a look at uh, one of the Maseratis. I forgot who it is. I forgot to note it down. So, but he's driving in reverse and then tries to go back into the pits through the wrong exit, obviously. Next we have Mike Hawthorne, who loses control of his Ferrari and flips it over as we go past. So that's another retirement. Next is Jean Bera in the Simca Gordini, who loses control of the car. There comes one of his teammates who joins him, and they both try to, I don't know, climb the hill there, as myself and Lang come and crash into them unwillingly, of course, and we saw Bira flip over. And this is Juan Manuel Fangio. He was already at the end of the lap, but he went a bit too wide through Woodcut there, crashed into the wall, lost his front left wheel, and he is out of the race. And so we move up into 6th place with Ascari right in front of us. Of course, we won't be able to catch him. He's been doing very well this season. He's leading the championship by quite a margin. And now we see Onofre Marimon coming around, loses control of his Maserati, was hit by one of the Ferraris, and now he, I'm guessing, unwillingly drives into the pits. But regardless, he is going to retire from the race. Next we have Robert Manzon in his Ferrari, losing control of it as he comes into Cobbs there and flips it upside down, and that's the end of his race. And now we have Umberto Maglioli, who's driving through the pits, and he's considering the fact that he is turning his wheels to the left, I'm guessing he doesn't know he's there. He wants to get back onto the track, but no luck. And here we have Nino Farina, who comes and loses control of his car along with those two Simcas, and he tries to get back on the track, I guess. Oh, and one of Maserati comes around, hits him from behind, and that flips him over, and that's the end of his race. And this is Herman Lang doing the same as Fangio, coming into Woodcut a bit too fast, drives into the wall, and he is out of the race. Next we have Maurice Trintignant, who loses control of his car through cops, and we saw this not so long ago, and flips his car over, and that's the end of the race. And this is Mieres. Mieres was the one who crashed into Farina, and that's the end of his race. Next is Mantovani coming around and also crashes into Farina's car, and now we have Andre Pilet, who loses control of his Simca and then gets lost as he drives off the track and onto where the landing strip was at one point. And this is Ascari losing control of his Lancia as he comes out of cops, crashes into that barrier and loses his front left wheel, so he is also out of the British Grand Prix. And we now move up into 4th, and that's almost all of the drivers out of the race now. I think there's only 4 people left, so yeah. Not very good. And this is lap 8, and we get lapped by Luigi Villoresi, who is chasing after Luigi Musso, who is leading the race at this point. And we have Eli Bayol behind us, one lap behind us, and he on lap 9 he retired from the race because, well, we saw him, he was upside down. At least I think that was Eli Bayol. Yes, it was. As he comes into cops, loses control of the car, just like everyone else who did that, flipped his car over, and that is the end. As we see Luigi Villoresi there, and Luigi Villoresi eventually overtook Luigi Musso and took the lead, and wins the race. As we come through that corner, and later on lap 28, we see Musso right behind me. I moved over to allow him to go past, and that was Villoresi crash, punting me from behind for some reason. But here is a replay. We see Musso coming around. I go all the way to the left to let him lap me, but he doesn't go for the lap. He tries to, I don't know, drive into me, but lost control of his car and retired on his final lap. So not a quite an interesting outcome there at the end of the race, and here are the race results. Fortunately enough, both myself and Musso managed to complete 90% of race distance, so we get to score points. So only 3 people managed to finish the race, and here are the retirements. Well, everyone else 17 retirements. There are 20 cars in total. Here are the first 15, and we should see the other 2. Yep, here they are. Well, that wasn't the best of races, was it? But I guess the AI got back to its usual weirdness, where it doesn't really race a lot. I really have no idea what else to say about that. We finished third, not in the way I would have wanted to. I would have wanted to fight for those points, but anyway, here are the career statistics, and this was Andy's 38th Grand Prix. His best start is from first, has 2 pole positions, has posted 8 fastest laps. His best finishes in first, has completed 25 races, 23 of those were in the points, and 13 of those were victories. And 2 of those victories were at the Indianapolis 500. No wins at Monaco yet, has won 3 championships, has scored 149 points, has retired 13 times, has experienced 799 out of 1051 laps, has 5 bronze trophies, 2 silver trophies, 13 gold trophies, and as an extension, 13 podiums. And here we have a quick look at the championship standings. Alberto Ascari leading the championship by quite a margin. Jean Bera is in second, Robert Manzon in third, Luigi Villoresi moves up into fourth, Pilet is fifth, and we move up into 11th, and everyone has scored points down to 16th place, which is held by Moss. So that was the British Grand Prix, kind of the race we kind of got to, we should expect really by this point, because most races end with 3, 4, maybe 5 drivers left by the end of the race. So yeah, it really should be expected by this point. Anyway, our next race is the German Grand Prix, and I'm very nervous about that. There are a lot of corners there. Hopefully we can get to finish the race, but I don't think we'll finish in the points unless, of course, the AI decides to be very dumb again. But anyway, that is it from me, and that is it from this video. Don't forget to vote for next season's team. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay sharp.